Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. I am Renee Garcia and this is TransurfingTV. And today, a powerful lesson for you guys. I talk about this in my Mo Money course because it is so valuable in releasing yourself into the alternative space where you can attract higher quality things, more of what you want. Because, I mean, let's face it, most of us want the higher quality things, right? Even if it is something as simple as nicer furniture or a nicer apartment or a nicer car or better clothing or whatever material stuff you place value on, resonating at a higher frequency, sort of matching your alchemy to the things that you want is very valuable in gaining those things. Before I get started, remember to like my video and comment below. My world is taking care of me. And subscribe and support this channel by engaging with it. So much appreciated. So yes, I talk about this in my Mo Money course simply because from my experience, I really had to shift my own alchemy over to a higher alchemy because I wanted a better life for myself than what I was given when I was younger or what I was born into. And, you know, in me understanding where I came from and the frequency at which I was resonating for a lot of years, the majority of, well, all of my childhood and about, you know, I would say 6 or 7 years into adulthood, into about my mid to late 20s, I was really challenged to understand the power of asking for more for myself when it came to material stuff. Now, a quick caveat to what I'm talking about today. This is material things we're going to be talking about, but if you value something else that defines wealth for you personally, let's say it's a thriving 401k or a house that's completely paid off, or something else other than material stuff, because I'm sure a lot of you will be like, well, who really cares about the material things? And I've actually gotten myself to a place where I don't care as much as I once did, but it is nice to resonate at that frequency, to have my alchemy match higher things and exist on that realm, exist on that life track rather than the lower ones that I was previously exposed to for an extended period of time. But again, if you have an idea of wealth that does not have, you know, isn't based on material stuff, or we're going to get into food and the cleanliness of your house and all those sorts of things. But if your idea of wealth exists in a different area than where what we're talking about today, then sort of start to work out how you can change your own alchemy to align with that version of wealth that you perceive as ideal. So once I go into my examples, you'll probably gain some insight if I don't specifically talk about what it is for you that means wealth. But I will get into my story a little bit. So I was born to a very lower middle class family. I was told throughout my childhood that we couldn't afford things, right? We always got the cheapest thing. If they bought a new stereo, it was the cheapest stereo. If they bought a TV, it was the cheapest TV. We lived in a mobile home park. We had the cheapest kind of car, right? Base with no options. We actually had a little Suzuki Swift. I don't know if you guys remember those, but they were these tiny, tiny, tiny little Japanese cars, and we were a family of 6. So it was always like the cheapest, the base model, and that really that's all they could afford. So I'm not really faulting them for that. However, I started to resonate with this lower frequency stuff, this lower frequency material, cheaply made stuff, low grade things, and I didn't really understand that there was something better until I left home and I moved to the city, and then I realized, oh my gosh, what are these, you know, stores that have these things and these people wearing nicer clothes and nicer cars. And I started to really distinguish the difference between my mindset and the new information that I was exposed to, right? So I struggled with this for a long time, really always doing the same things my parents did, opting for the cheapest thing, buying the cheapest one. I grew up wearing thrift store clothes, so I actually had a challenging time buying clothes for myself that were higher quality, and I even still do a little bit with the clothes, because as you can see, I kind of wear the same thing over and over again, but I really love the jewelry, so I like to save my money for the jewelry. But I started to really see that there was a very stark difference in what I had grown up believing was for me, and then things on the opposite end of the spectrum that I needed to close that gap, right? I wanted to get over closer to those things on the opposite end of the spectrum. So how I did that, I tell this in my Mo Money course as an example, because I really do attribute so much of what I have now to this beginning practice. And what I did was, I had no money. I was really, really in debt. I didn't have a car. I could barely afford my cell phone bill, and I wasn't making anything, and I was really, really challenged to understand how I was going to survive in life, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I started to make frequent trips over to Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and I would go walk around inside of the stores and pretend like I belonged there, right? And I did this, I really went into the jewelry stores more so because I always have been somewhat attracted to jewelry. I'm not sure exactly why, but even when I was younger, I would notice women wearing jewelry in public or certain places. So there was something there. So I just sort of gravitated towards that realm, towards this sort of material, right? And I did this until, and I still do this to this day. If I go to San Francisco or Los Angeles or New York, I go into the Cartier store, I go into the Van Cleef store, I go look around. Now, I don't buy anything. It's not about buying anything. It's about matching my alchemy to what I want to have. And as you can see, I have it now, right? I did not have this stuff before. This is because my alchemy has changed. I've opened that sector of the alternative space to allow this sort of material to come in my direction. So I went into the store, I pretended like I belonged, I walked around, I talked to the salespeople, I tried things on, right? And I started to feel more and more comfortable, like I could envision that version of reality where I could buy stuff and wear it and feel like it is for me, right? So any way that you can do this personally with whatever it is you deem, valuable, or whatever it is you want to have more of that maybe you are lacking a little bit now, you can start to open up that sector of reality, attracting more in. And I will give you a few ideas if you're kind of like, oh, what the hell is she talking about? How do I do that exactly? So here is, higher alchemy me. And the things that I focus on, higher media, right? In the evening, instead of turning on the news, I turn on some Miles Davis, and I listen to that, right? It changes things. It helps me to feel as though I'm higher up in that, my vibration is higher. I splurge. I buy myself things when I can, even if They're not necessarily expensive things. I just really make certain that I don't ever say, I can't afford it. You know, if I go to buy a new phone, I don't buy the cheapest model. I buy the most expensive model, because I don't want to ever send that message into my external environment that I'm not worthy of the top model phone. Higher quality food. For me, this is actually going to sound kind of weird to you guys, I'm sure, but my weird mental thing with poverty and mentality, my ideal version of wealth is that I can walk into a Whole Foods store and fill the shopping cart with whatever I want and not care about the bill when I get to the checkout counter. That is actually because I was raised with such low quality food, and sometimes scarcity of food too. My parents, you know, it was every 2 weeks when they got their paycheck, they went shopping. So as that 2 weeks went on, the food got more and more scarce, and it was like, oh my God, they gotta go shopping soon. So for me, having a fridge full of high quality food that I can enjoy whenever I want, this is my alchemy raising up from the alchemy that I was accustomed to. Money, this is a big one, and I'm gonna make a separate video on this called money rubbing, because I know, funny name, because this is a really, really valuable little trick that I use. If I get a $100 bill for some reason, I know this is gonna sound weird, if I'm sitting at my desk and my wallet's there, I'll pull that $100 bill out of my wallet and I'll just rub it. I'll just keep it in my hands, I'll rub it, I'll look at it, and I feel that frequency, that resonant frequency starting to raise, matching with that money, and the idea of more of those coming into my reality feels like a higher probability, right? Luxury is a big one. Again, I'm kind of a bargain shopper, so I love stores like Marshall's and Ross and all those discount stores that sell designer things, because I can go in there, I can buy what was a $300 pair of sheets for $60, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to like be spending all kinds of money. Just figure out ways that you can get the higher quality things into your reality, and that's starting to become the norm, right? That is the standard. Higher quality material, again, this is you not buying the cheapest thing. It's you not buying things that are made of plastic, maybe things that are made of wood instead. This is really about switching over from lower quality material things to higher quality material things. Even if you have less of them, have higher quality, less number of them, less quantity, than more junk that's poorly made. Clean living, this is a big one, and Vadim Zeland talks about this in the 78 Days of Practical Transurfing, cleaning your layer of reality, keeping your space clean, keeping things clutter-free, keeping things organized, keeping your environment really feeling as though you can relax and luxuriate in your environment rather than feeling overwhelmed with a bunch of junk or whatever it is that you have around. Really resonating with, you know, refinement, luxury, clean, high quality food, just all the higher things. Quickly, I know this video is going to be a little bit long, but I just wanted to tell you a quick story on luxury and something I heard that resonated with me very deeply when I was younger. I met a man that became a very famous musician. And he told me that at a certain point in his life, he was homeless and he was addicted to heroin. And he, you know, had built an empire for himself. I won't name his name out of privacy, but I will say that he was very, very big. He had an empire, houses, cars, all that kind of stuff. And I said, how did you go from that to this, right? And he said, you know, the time that it changed is when a friend of mine invited me, after I kicked heroin at a rehab facility, invited me to come and stay at their place. And I remember when I arrived Nobody was there. I had $25 to my name, but I was invited into this home, and I knew that I needed to switch something, right? So I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I went down to a beauty supply store and I bought the most expensive bottle of bubble bath that I could find. And I came back and I drew a bath for myself. I put in the bottle of bubble bath and I got in and I made the decision that I was not going to go back to any of that past stuff, that it was only going to be forward from then on." So this stuck with me, and this is what I'm talking about. Luxury, starting to really claim the nicer things and turn away from the lower frequency, lower quality stuff, and get yourself up, right? Get yourself up. Again, I'm not talking about spending money in excess. I'm not talking about being irresponsible or running up credit cards. Where you can, do what you can to shift your alchemy to a higher place. So obviously the other side of this, messiness, fast food, focusing on lack, cheaply made stuff, low grade material. This sucks, right? So this sucks. This is cool because this is cool. And if you're fine with any of this stuff and you feel as though it is not lowering your nature or your frequency or your alchemy, and you really are fine with it, then that's all good. But if you're looking for something higher, if you're looking for higher quality, if you're looking for refinement, if you're looking for more financial comfort and ease, start shifting your alchemy by inviting more of this into your reality and starting to cycle this stuff out, right? So I know I've said this a few times in my past videos, but I will literally put my jewelry on and rub it, right? I'll touch it, I'll rub it, I'll look at it, and it's meaningful to me because of, obviously that place where I made that switch. I'm not going to resonate with the lower alchemy stuff anymore. I'm going to start resonating with the higher alchemy stuff. And I pay homage to that daily by giving thanks and gratitude and acknowledging the gifts that the alternative space has brought me. So if you like this video, please comment below. Let me know your thoughts on it. Like it, thumbs up, comment, and let me know if you get what I'm saying here and how you can switch over, how you can make the move if you need to do that. And obviously, I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have. Have a good one. Bye.